Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. Here's another installment of Revolutions, aka what I've been playing recently. Thank you for stopping by and for being here with me for maybe half an hour or so. Um, and I posted a Gimme 10 on the Melbourne electronic and ambient scene, and as I predicted, almost no one watched it. And it's a shame in a way because there's some really interesting records spotlighted there, but obviously it's a very niche thing, and I understand that people may not want to spend their time doing that, but you know, it's a video that It's funny, the video that you put the most time into are the ones that end up being the one that nobody really cares about. Um, you know, it's uh, it's what we call Murphy's Law here. Anyway, I'm going to start with some classical music. I was just playing this quite dark and twisted piece by Bela Bartok. It is music for strings, percussion, and celeste and divertimento, played by the Academy of St. Martin's in the Fields, directed by Neville Mariner. Like you can imagine this music soundtracking some psychological drama or something. It's kind of like, when the protagonist gets a nervous breakdown, comes music for Celeste. Now it's avant-garde classical. What can you say? It's beautiful nonetheless. It's a very cerebral type of music. It's not something that you can put lightly in the background and ignore, but and composed in 1936 or thereabouts. Um, this morning, when I woke up. This is Sunday morning. It's sunny, beautiful outside. I woke up and I put something lighter. This is Glenn Gould, the wizard, the Canadian wizard of the Bach persuasion, playing Scriabin Sonata Number 3 and Prokofiev Sonata Number 7. Both of them absolutely gorgeous and kind of, very in comparison to Bartok, very light and very airy and very playful, compositions. Very highly recommend. This is the Speakers Corners press, by the way, which I got, a couple of years ago. I think during lockdown again, one of these records that I bought in that time. And also revisited La Mer by Debussy, one of my favorite composers. Kind of my gateway into classical music was Claude Debussy, I reckon, because it's so accessible and I like the impressionistic, romantic kind of nature of his music. And this is obviously a top-notch recording by the l'Orchestre de la Suisse Romande, Ernest Ansermet, who is a master at just about everything he does. His Stravinsky renditions are reference, and it's also got Rhapsody Espagnole by Maurice Ravel, which is also one of my favorite composers. So kind of it's minimalism really. Ravel, it's before its own time. Last backtracking, I did a Gimme 10 on slowcore, which thanks for the response, by the way, Dom, if you're watching this. And so I continue playing some slowcore records because I just felt like it's just a nice mood to be in. It's autumn here. Well, now it's getting into it's winter here. We're getting into spring, but I revisited some classics. For example, I put Frigid Stars by Codeine, the New York outfit. The White Birch, which I included in my Gimme 10, I love, but it's very in your face, like if you, from the first song on was D, which is really very rocky and very sort of like angry, but this is the Numero Group reissue from many years ago, which I bought when 2012. Gosh, takes me back. and which is still to this day I love. It's just a great record. Um, uh, in a sort of a more somber and dark mood, I put on uh, this masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece. I could have included this easily in my Give Me 10, but there's so many songs of higher uh, and Jason Molina records that are masterpieces that it's very hard to choose. This is from 2000, Ghost Tropic, from Songs of Higher, the band led by the tragically departed Jason Molina. This is an absolute masterpiece. I mean, you can't go wrong with Ghost Tropic. It's very somber and very depressed, and even more depressed is the final album by Jason Molina, which is called Let Me Go, Let Me Go, Let Me Go, from 2000 and well, it's a little bit before he passed away. This is an absolute gem of a record. It's just so beautiful and somber and delicate and dark and desperate as a record. It's obviously a folk record, but with Jason Molina's own slowcore, sadcore twist to it. It's a bit like the music of Mark Kozelek. Now, I showcased Roller Coaster in the Gimme 10, but gosh, this could go. This is just as good. In fact, this one probably trumps it in the sense that it's a short album. It's practically an EP. It's only 6 songs, but they're all amazingly crafted. I mean, like Medicine Bottle and Japanese to English are just some of the best songs I've ever heard from anyone. The Red House Painters started playing this, and this led me into playing a little bit of post rock as well. Actually, I've got some CDs. I know CDs are very popular here than these parts. Other slowcore albums a couple of other slowcore albums that I put on. Spain, the Blue Moods of Spain. Now, this is probably not a band that gets name checked very often, but it's a band that I remember 25 years ago when I still lived in France. I used to read Les Inrecuptibles, which is the weekly music magazine. It's really kind of, it was quite intellectual and quite forward thinking and led me to discover a lot of essential music in my life. And this album was showcased back then, and I mean, I had no idea what slowcore was, or if it was something, but it's a bit more poppy than your Red House Painters, or Songs of Higher or Codeine. But I think this album is a beautiful record. It's a dark folk album. The leader of this band is a guy called Josh Hayden. He's got a beautiful voice. I recommend this record. This was reminded to me by one of my German viewers. I watch his video, Erwin. Your channel escapes me right now. I'll put it in the description. But thank you for reminding me. And also, I put, again, Dongs of Devotion by Smog. I mean, I love Smog, and I've spoken about Bill Callahan on his channel so many times. This is a beautiful album. I really love Dress Sexy at My Funeral, the second song. It's absolutely hilarious. But, I mean, in the scheme of Smog, that's not a very slowcore record. I mean, Red Apple Falls, for example, is way more slowcore. But anyway, I was going to say, since I was playing lots of slowcore, then I started playing lots of post-rock as well. Which, for example, I pulled out this, speaking of German, this is a German post-rock band. They're called Halma. This was sent to me by my friend Tamo, and it's got even a sticker which is Hamburg is das neue Chicago. Hamburg is the new Chicago. I love that, and Hamburg is such a beautiful place. I'd move to Hamburg in a heartbeat. It's just so, it's my kind of city. Um, this is a great kind of, yeah, tortoise. Yeah, comes to mind immediately. Tortoise like release, all instrumental, really phenomenal. Thank you, Tamo. If you're watching this video, I don't know if you watch this video, but you know, ich hoffe alles ist gut bei dir, Tamo. Um, the Sea and Cake. This is an absolutely gorgeous album. I don't know if people know about the Sea and Cake very much or play this kind of music, but in any case, you should. This band is fronted by what's the main guy's called now? I've got complete brain farts at the moment. Sam Prekop, yeah. So this band led by Sam Prekop, who makes records in his own name, and this is on Thrill Jockey, which is really the post-rock label if there was one. This is Nassau. This probably is the Sea and Cake's best record. I would put it in my top 10 post-rock albums of all time. You know, it's a gorgeous record from start to finish, double album with vocals. Just really, really lovely album. If you, I don't know, if you like Tortoise, but you know you'd like an extension and with, you know, with a vocal base, it's really great album. Don't know what to say about it really. And this is a phenomenal album, post-rock album from like last year or the year before. This is Oren and Bashi, who I went to see along with James Buttery and Anthony Camplone last year or this year. No, it was last year. And we pretty much walked out of the gig after 10 minutes because it was like noise basically. But this record, which he made with Chris Abrams from The Necks, and you've got Jim O'Rourke on this, for example, and BJ Cole. This is a masterpiece. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, again, post-rock record. Very highly recommended. And to close the post-rock bracket, I also revisited my Silver Mount Zion records, which are the project from side project from Godspeed You Black Emperor. So they're on Constellation Records in Canada. I would highly recommend this one here, which the title is enormous. The band is called the Silver Mount Zion Memorial Orchestra. I don't know if the camera will pick this up. There we go. Okay, I'll move on to another style. Shout out to Dom, Seeking a Thread. I really like Dom. I mean, you know, I think we're kind of like-minded in this, you know, in this hobby. And Dom sent me a message a while back, and he said, "Oh, what do you think of the first Catharsis record? Have you got the first Catharsis record?" And I do have both of the first, you know, the first and second. Catharsis is a French prog band, very much in the Pink Floyd mold, with some. I can hear some Canterbury prog in there too. And this is their first record, which originally came out on Sarava, but my copy is on Festival. It's a reissue. I mean, you know, when I bought this, you know, it's the copy that appeared in front of me in France. I didn't think, oh, I need a Sarava first press, and I don't really, because this sounds pretty good, and it was, you know, when I bought it, very cheap. So I'm really fundamentally happy with this. I'm not a first press snob anyway, but features Roland Bouquet on organ, piano, glockenspiel, and vocals. And Roland Bouquet also made library records. You know, he's pretty sort of, if you like library music, he's pretty well known in that sort of sense. It's a lovely record with, like, you know, kind of hushed vocals, very sort of Yeah, a very sort of early Pink Floyd kind of, if you mix Pink Floyd and the Soft Machine and a little bit of Hatfield and North, I think you'd come to Catharsis. So I thank you, Dom, because I hadn't played this record for years, and I've played it about 6 times now, and I love it. It's a great record. So thank you very much for reminding me. And then, as I was in my French prog section, which is just there behind me, I pulled out other French prog records. I thought, what the hell? I don't play these very often, so I took out the Clearlight Symphony record, which is superb, really. It's Cyril Verdot, who plays here grand piano, organ, mellotron, and synth bass. And then he's got Tim Blake, Steve Hillage, and Didier Malherbe from Gong. So this, and Christian Boulez plays electric guitar as well there, and Gilbert Hartmann, also a legend on the French progressive scene, plays drums. It's really amazing. I mean, it's a who's who of that sort of French, Anglo-French progressive scene of the time. And it makes sense to have all these gong players, because this is on Virgin, and obviously, that was the school, the spirit that was running at the time. Lovely sleeve. This is very much piano driven, progressive rock, with some electronics mixed in. It's lovely. It's a lovely record. And in the same kind of vein, sort of, it's much darker. I also played my copy of Rhizosphere by Richard Pinas. Obviously, Richard Pinas is, Helden, legend. Now, it's funny, side story. Somebody bought a couple of records from me from Discogs, and they were French prog records. And this guy goes to me, do you happen to have other French prog records for sale? I mean, I have a lot of French prog records, but they're not. I mean, I wouldn't sell this up. I love this. And he said, because he lives in Brisbane, like in Queensland. And he said, I'm writing a book about the French underground scene from 1968 to 1972 or 73, loosely. And we started talking on Discogs in the message thing, and he just interviewed Richard Pinas like last weekend or something. The weekend before I talked to him, and he talked to all these people. Ariel Kalmar, who lives here in Australia, really fascinating. And so he gave me a link to his thing, and he's going to send me a copy of his book when that's a cool side story. So that made me play Rhizosphere, very dark electronic record, mind blowing stuff. Everybody should get into Helden. And lastly, it's French rock, Laurence Vanet, who was the wife of Laurent Thibault. I think Laurent Thibault, from who was originally in Magma, and his album is also like a cult classic, phenomenal. Mais on ne peut pas rêver tout le temps, which is like the epitome of French Canterbury prog, if there was one. I'm going to continue with like some more modern things and some Japanese stuff. So I was revisiting this beautiful Japanese jazz record, Itsuru, which came out in 2018, fairly recent. This is a mix between Western jazz instrument and Japanese jazz koto and shakuhachi. It's the bomb. This record is amazing. Came out on Musilog. If you like Japanese jazz, you've been for a treat. Itsuru. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 piece, I think, band, and they go between spiritual jazz, modal jazz, a little bit of. It's mixed with like traditional Japanese elements, it's amazing. And here's a a more recent release. This is 2023. This was recommended to me by my friend Amos, who I'm sure will watch this, who also lives around the corner from here. The band is called. This is the name of the band. The band is called Maya Ongaku, and it's called Approach Anima. And the hype sticker says, "Hailing from a Japanese seaside town, this is Maya Ongaku's international debut album. Japanese folk songs infused with spiritual experimentation, best suited for meditation, observing butterflies, and drawing one's dreams." I think that's. I don't need to say anymore. Now this is an absolute masterpiece. This record, I love this record. I play it all the time. It's a thing of beauty. If you can get a copy of this, it's just lovely, lovely record on Rhythm, Echo and Noise Records. I think that's what. There you go. Absolutely amazing. Okay, moving on. Here is and again, these are the band is called Tenga, Tenggr, Tenga. There we go, and the album is called Earthing. This is an album from 2022. This is a beautiful, spacey, ambient, new agey South Korean progressive electronic record. I don't know what else to say about it. It's quite repetitive, but just with lovely textures and live drums, and I love this. This is gorgeous. This is one of these. I was talking about the label Ramble Records recently, and this is one of the releases. It is fantastic, phenomenal record. Tenga, I was playing that. Talking about this morning, and a couple of Australian records there that I want to showcase, but like this is a recent release on Lasap. Lasap is a Melbourne label, really forward-thinking Melbourne label, beautiful stuff. They put out lots of really great jazz, like the JK Group, for example, is on Lasap, Zeitgeist Freedom Ensemble, and this is their first reissue, I think. All of their releases have been current releases. This is a band from Melbourne called High Pass Filter, which operated between 1997 and 2005, and they were an electronic dub, jazzy kind of with jazzy influences group. And Lasap has kindly re-released the almost everything they recorded as double album. And I've been playing this a lot too. It's a very, very lovely record. I love this. High Pass Filter is the name of the band. You may not be able to find this easily, but at least you can stream it somewhere, or you can go on Lasap's Bandcamp and stream it. And here is a record that I bought last year, 2022. Which is something you can have for cheap here in Australia. You can find it for like $30, almost worth nothing these days, records-wise. This is Cone of Confusion. This is the name of the band, and the album is called Hominid. This is a gorgeous space rock, psych fusion space rock album from Sydney. Yeah. I don't know what else I can say, but it's got instrumentation range from vibraphone, synth, piano, Hammond, double bass, obviously drums, electric guitar, bass clarinet, tenor sax, vocals. Like it's got a mixture of really it's like a quieter version of a Hawkwind record. Like it's much more delicate and in a way sort of more jazzy, I'd say. Okay, some jazz. Now, I got this record last year or maybe, and it's a record that I loved instantly when I first found out about it. This is Nala Sinefro. She's from Belgium originally. She plays the harp, but this is a UK jazz record through and through. Like the whole cast is UK jazz. You know, from Wonky Logic, Nubia Garcia, Eddie Higg, Jake Long. So these are just UK jazz players. And this again is an absolute tour de force. This is an absolute, like, it's a sublime record. I think if you've never heard, it's called Space 1.8, and it's a new jazz record, as in NU, you know. But I don't know how to explain this. Side 2 is so spacey and, you know, flowy, and you play this and you just think you've discovered a new kind of jazz altogether. You're going, what am I listening to? Often I find myself, you know when you put a record on and you've forgotten what you've put on, and then you listen to it and you go, what the fuck is that record? I've played this in the past week about 3 times, and every time I've gone, wow, this is just gorgeous, sublime music. It's just revisiting one's collection is worth it, really. I mean, a few more quickly. I revisited Rhoda Scott. She was a female organist, much like, you know, someone like Jimmy Smith, and she plays in a trio. And this album, if you live in France, this album you can find in almost every shop. It's just it's a cheap record, and she's in a trio of drums, organ, and sax. If that doesn't sell it to you. And they play the first tune that you hear is Also sprach Zarathustra, which is the great Strauss, you know, opening of 2001 Space Odyssey, but on funky organ with sax and drums. Fucking cooks. So if you've never heard of Rhoda Scott, go for it. I have revisited this beautiful record, spiritual modal jazz, Adele Sebastian. I mean, that's a repress, because the originals of these are just like worth a house, basically. She was in the Pan-African Orchestra with Horace Tapscott, and then she made her own record. She died really young. She was 33 or 27 or whatever when she died. So, I mean, what a wasted talent, really. Plays the flute and the sax, I think. No, mostly the flute there. And you've got these awesome players. And, Billy Higgins, and, and it's very much endorsed by Horace Tapscott, who, you know, was a mentor to her, I think. I'll thank Dom again very quickly, because he made me pull out my copy of Extensions. Mine's so old, there's a sim split all over the top, but still a very, very beautiful, deep, spiritual jazz record with Alice Coltrane and all sorts of other people. McCoy Tyner, Wayne Shorter, Gary Bartz, Ron Carter, Elvin Jones. Spiritual Jazz 101. And then it made me take out my copy of Sahara, which is a mind bender as well. Such a good record. Just and it features Sonny Fortune on sax, and I love Sonny Fortune. I love his tone, and I love his worth playing. And his solo record on Horizon is fucking great. Cheap as well. And that made me pull out, for some reason, Schizophrenia by Wayne Shorter, which is a very underrated record by Wayne Shorter, I reckon. I think, is it been reissued as a Tone Poet or something? Did I see that? Or has it been reissued as a Tone Poet? I haven't followed. I'll finish off with a couple of CDs and I'll go. Shown by James Buttery the other day in one of his new videos. So it made me want to listen to it. It's something that instantly, when I bought this a couple of years ago, that's from 2021, yeah. I immediately love this. This is like an Afro-Brazilian record, but from Angola. It's really like, it's no different to a Caetano Veloso record, but the guy is from Africa, and it's Afro-Portuguese. I mean, it was a Portuguese colony, so Very, very highly recommend this to Mario Ruiz Silva. This is a long one, I'm sorry, you know. A shout out to my friend Gareth Fitzpatrick, who will watch this, who put me on to Joseph Tawadros, an oud player from Sydney, who is amazing. This is his most recent record. To those who came before us, this is all instrumental oud of the highest caliber. This guy is an Egyptian, Australian Egyptian, and a couple of sadly departed member of the Stars of the Lid. I can't remember his name now for some reason. Is it Brian McBride? Maybe I'm wrong. But it's funny because I pulled this out a day or two before he passed, and then he passed away. It was really bizarre. Masterpiece, by the way. The last Ruichi Sakamoto, again, delicate, absolutely gorgeous record. And no, that's all. I'll stop here because, you know, I'm just not doing any justice to these records, and I don't want to. But in any case, I hope you enjoy this installment. Very varied and lots of things for people to react to. And if you didn't, well, too bad. It's here anyway. Love you all. Take care. And until next time.